The late 1960s. California is defined by the summer of love and social revolution. But in the shadows of the San Francisco Bay Area, a different kind of darkness is gathering. Behind the veneer of a golden era, a predator is silently observing, meticulously planning a campaign of terror that will forever stain the history of the American West. December 20th, 1968. David Faraday and Betty Lou Jensen arrive at Lake Herman Road, seeking a quiet spot. It was supposed to be a memorable night of teenage romance. Instead, it became the brutal genesis of the Zodiac's legend. A hail of bullets shattered the silence, leaving 2 young lives extinguished before they could even begin. When authorities arrived, they were met with a baffling void. No robbery, no clear motive, and remarkably few forensic clues. The police were working in the dark, failing to realize that this was not a random act of senseless violence. It was the calculated opening move of a killer who treated murder as a strategic game. For months, the public lived in a false sense of security, assuming the double homicide was an isolated tragedy. But the killer was simply waiting. He was observing the police, mocking their confusion from afar, and preparing for the next stage of a horrifying performance that would soon captivate the entire nation. July 31st, 1969. The silence is shattered. 3 major newspapers receive letters containing identical chilling details about the murders. "This is the Zodiac speaking," the note begins. The killer has finally stepped out of the shadows, demanding attention and control over the media's narrative. Along with his claims of responsibility, the Zodiac provides a 408-symbol cipher. He presents it as a riddle, claiming his identity is hidden within the text. He is daring the public to solve it, effectively turning the manhunt into a twisted, high-stakes competition of intellect. Brilliant minds, codebreakers, mathematicians, and academics converge to decode the symbols. But the Zodiac is clever. He uses logic that is distinctly his own. As the world watches, these experts struggle, realizing that the killer is not just playing with lives. He is playing with the psychological limits of his pursuers. July 4th, 1969. Independence Day. The killer returns. Darlene Ferrin and Michael Mageau are targeted at Blue Rock Springs. The attack is brutal, calculated, and aimed directly at forcing the police to acknowledge his presence. He isn't hiding anymore. He is hunting. Michael Mageau miraculously survives the onslaught. He provides the first concrete physical description. A heavy-set man, likely in his late 20s or 30s, wearing glasses. For the first time, the ghost has a face, but the investigation is still severely hampered by the lack of clear evidence. Shortly after the Blue Rock Springs shooting, a call comes in to the Vallejo police. The voice is calm, rhythmic, and terrifyingly detached.
"I killed those kids, and I'm going to kill again."
The taunt is personal. The killer is not just an anonymous entity. He is an active, threatening force. The media becomes the Zodiac's most effective tool. By plastering his letters and symbols on the front page, the press unwittingly grants him the celebrity status he craves. He manages the news cycle, deciding when to strike and when to force the public into a state of panic. September 27, 1969. The killer evolves again. He appears in a black executioner's hood, emblazoned with a strange crosshair symbol. Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Shepard are bound and stabbed. The Zodiac has now added a theatrical element to his brutality, marking his victims with a visual signature. That symbol, the circle with a cross, becomes the most feared icon in California. It isn't just a sign, it is a promise of future violence. The state is gripped by a paralyzing fear. Every car with a similar marking is reported, and the sense of security vanishes from the public consciousness. Paranoia sweeps across Northern California. Neighborhood watch programs are established, and people stop visiting local landmarks after dark. The police are inundated with thousands of tips, creating a massive logistical bottleneck that protects the killer in the chaos. October 11, 1969. The Zodiac targets a cab driver, Paul Stein, in a residential area. This is his most brazen attack yet. A witness sees the killer leaving the scene, and police actually pass him on the street. But due to a massive miscommunication, they allow him to walk away into the night. The composite sketch of the Presidio Heights killer becomes the most famous image in true crime history. It is printed in every paper, broadcast on every channel. Every man in California with glasses suddenly becomes a potential suspect, causing social tension and fear. The killer begins sending pieces of evidence to the authorities. He isn't just killing, he is mocking the incompetence of the system. Each letter is a reminder that while the police are busy chasing ghosts, the Zodiac is walking freely among them. Arthur Lee Allen becomes the central figure of the investigation. A convicted child molester, he matches the witness descriptions. Investigators are convinced he is the one, yet key forensic tests, including handwriting and fingerprints, repeatedly fail to tie him to the crime. The tragic irony of the Zodiac case is the timing of the technology. Forensic science in the 1970s was primitive. Evidence was handled carelessly, and the crucial DNA technology that could have solved the mystery decades later did not exist, allowing the killer to slip through the gaps. The Zodiac claimed 37 lives, but the police can only confirm 5. Is this the arrogance of a narcissistic killer inflating his legend? Or are there dozens of victims whose disappearances were never linked to the Zodiac? The truth remains buried in the silence of the lost. Investigators begin looking into the occult. Is the symbol linked to horoscopes? Is it a ritualistic marking? The search for meaning takes the investigation into dark, metaphysical territory, often distracting from the reality of a brutal, cold-blooded human killer. The case ruins lives. Detectives who dedicated their youth to the investigation retire as broken men. They carried the weight of the unsolved cases for decades, realizing that the Zodiac didn't just murder his victims, he destroyed the peace of everyone involved in the hunt. The Zodiac transforms from a human monster into a cultural icon. Books, films, and documentaries keep his legend alive. But this fame comes at a price. The real victims are often forgotten in favor of the mysterious, romanticized persona of the killer. The age of the internet changes everything. Amateur sleuths, coders, and armchair detectives from around the world analyze digitized evidence. They find details that original detectives missed, keeping the pressure on for a solution that seems perpetually out of reach. In 2020, a major breakthrough. The 340 cipher is finally solved. But the reveal is chilling. It doesn't give a name, it gives a taunt. I hope you are having lots of fun in trying to catch me. The game, it seems, was never meant to be won. Behind the mystery are the families left behind. They have spent over half a century waiting for an answer. For them, the Zodiac is not a legend or a riddle. He is a source of lifelong pain that refuses to heal. If the Zodiac were active today, he would be a man in his 90s. Is he still out there, hiding in plain sight in some nursing home, laughing at the world's inability to catch him? Or did he die decades ago, taking his true identity to the grave? Some theorists pose a terrifying possibility. Was the Zodiac a single man, or a label adopted by different individuals? A mask that allowed multiple predators to commit crimes without being caught? It is a theory that makes the legend even more impossible to solve. Some mysteries are destined to remain unsolved, woven into the fabric of history as eternal reminders of the unknown. The Zodiac is the ultimate enigma, a ghost who walked among us and vanished into the darkness of history. He took his secrets into the dark. What do you believe? Was he a mastermind, a lucky predator, or a shadow that we will never truly identify? Let us know in the comments. Subscribe for more deep dives into history's darkest mysteries. Thank you for watching.